What is up, everybody? I hope you're all doing good. Welcome to the Mike Show. This episode is the What is Harder Than That Hip-Hop edition. One of the coolest things you can do for a person is turn them on to new music. Your brain takes a little snapshot and you usually remember exactly where you were and who introduced you to this new music. While working at Tower Records, this happened often. We would have a 5-disc CD player behind the counter and whoever was working the registers would get to choose the music. I got turned on to so many different bands there. When I get into a band, after a while I always seem to start wondering, what's harder than that? And this week we're covering hip-hop and rap. And for me, heavy or hard equals 1, a sick beat, 2, clever writing, 3, powerful delivery, 4, I need to believe it when I hear it, even if what's being said is completely unbelievable. Now these aren't in order of release dates. It's in order of me hearing it. You might notice that when I discover an artist, sometimes it's on their second album, and a lot of the times I have to go back and hear their first album afterward. So let's kick this off. The first hip-hop artist I got into was Run DMC. Man, King of Rock video where they can't get into the Rock and Roll Museum, and they walk in and start playing with the full band. They were dissing Michael Jackson and stepping on his glove. That blew my little mind in 1985. Now what's harder than that? LL Cool J, I'm Bad. Talking about taking a muscle-bound man and putting his face in the sand. And what's harder than that? Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full. Or Boogie Down Productions' Criminal Minded. Those are kind of a tie for me. I remember being in high school and one day my buddy had bought Too Short's Born to Mac, and you had to be 18 years old to purchase it. It was like buying a pack of smokes without a note from your mom. Too Short was talking about all these girls that he banged. Most rappers were pretty clean before Too Short. He was one of the first to use the word bitch on a record. What's harder than that? Kool Moe Dee asking How You Like Me Now. Or my favorite Kool Moe Dee track, I Go to Work. It still holds up today with its awesome James Bond style video. What's harder than that? Public Enemy. Such a weird pairing seeing a serious dude like Chuck D with the complete opposite in Flavor Flav, but it works and I can't imagine one without the other now. Public Enemy started to address some of the more serious stuff that was going on. Now what's harder than that? 2 Live Crew. Their album was actually banned. Cops were arresting band members for performing the songs and arresting store owners for selling the record. A record! And they weren't even talking about like violence or murder or anything. They were mainly talking about fucking chicks. Now what's harder than that? Ice-T Power. Ice was talking about banging girls, but he was also talking about fucking people up. In my opinion, Ice-T is the Black Sabbath of gangster rap. Now what's harder than that? Of course, NWA. These dudes are yelling, fuck the police. I had never heard anything like that on a record before. NWA were like hood reporters, letting you know what's really going on in the streets. Does it get any harder than that? Yes, it do. In my opinion, the golden age of hip-hop is the 90s. Nowadays, it's kind of difficult to consider Snoop Dogg hard, but he definitely had his moments like with Murder Was the Case. Now, what's harder than that? Tupac. He has one of the most vicious diss tracks ever in Hit 'Em Up. Now, what's harder than that? Ice Cube goes solo and drops America's Most Wanted and Death Certificate, 2 of my favorite classic hip-hop albums. No Vaseline is for sure my number 1 diss track ever. I couldn't take NWA seriously after that massacre. Now what's harder than that? DMX comes out barking, dropping hit after hit. It's Dark and Hell is Hot is one of the best debut albums in hip-hop. Now what's harder than that? Wu-Tang Clan comes out with Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, combining rap and kung fu. How can that not be awesome? Good luck finding something harder than Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Fuck With. What's harder than that? Busta Rhymes. I like fast shit and Busta can spit some speedy bars. Break Your Neck is one of my favorites. Tech Nine is also one of my favorites with Industry is Punks. He's like the Slayer of hip-hop, built for speed. But I do gotta say that Twista was the first fast rapper that I heard going full speed. Now on a little side note here, when the East Coast, West Coast shit jumped off, I, of course, sided with my coast, the West. This means I missed out on some great music that I had to go back years later and discover. But when that dumb shit was going on, I could not be listening to Jay-Z, Notorious B.I.G., or Nas, even though I consider them all legends. Now, what's harder than that? Pairing Dr. Dre up with this kid Eminem. Before Eminem, if you weren't in House of Pain and you were a white rapper, you were basically considered a clown. Now, what's harder than that? The guy he signed, 50 Cent. 50's debut is an all-time classic. Now, being completely honest, I don't listen to much of today's hip-hop. Maybe I'm too old, or maybe it's just changed so much that I don't recognize it anymore. I do like some of Kendrick Lamar's stuff and A$AP Ferg songs. All right, am I missing something? Is there something I should be listening to? Drop it in the comments and I'll check it out. Oh yeah, there's a link in the description for a Spotify playlist that I made of all these artists. Check it out. And tune in next week for the What's Harder Than That Metal Edition.
Hello there, listen to me. Do you want to know about all the new things? Then hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit all the bells, Liberty Bell, bells and whistles, smoke and mirrors, smokes and magics. Just jump through the hoops like they want you to.